Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Lechtech Musar podcast. We continue with the Pele Yoeitz. We are on page 136 in the article. We're on day 44 of Hachzik. Today we begin Chalosh, which means one who is weak. And Pele is going to tell us that whenever possible, hardship and struggle should not stop our mission of spiritual ascent, but rather it should define it. It should keep us more grounded, should be serve as a chizik, not to crumble, but to strengthen. Yeser se'ez, with more fire, with more vigor. Acholosh yoimar giborani, one who is weak by nature or due to suffering and hardship, must always say to himself, I'm strong, and do whatever is in his power to keep his commitments and convictions intact. Is at that time where one feels sick, the one who loves Hashem with all of his heart will distinguish himself. For he will not forsake his service with some easy excuse, but instead he's going to push himself to fulfill the will of his master. This is the challenge one faces whenever he's presented with suffering, adversity. This is what Chazal mean. This reminds me of a story I think we said recently, but at the previous Adirei Torah, it was a few weeks ago, there's a story of a young man who, he passed away. He was very sick, and Reb Nachum Binder was illustrating the type of young man he was, and he was really, really sick and ill and weak, and he needed to eat for his own health. But he had commitments to Torah. He learned Bava Basra over 100 times, the biggest Masechet in Shas, and he would not eat, even as he was sick, even as he was literally in his deathbed. He would not eat anything until he finished all of his chazaras. This is a person that's being pumped with poison, with chemo, with drugs, and mamash withering away, dying. But the most important thing to him was his Torah, was his commitments to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, was his nitzchis. Nothing else really mattered. And he would fast. He wouldn't allow himself to eat before finishing those chiyuvim, those obligations. Another friend, Rachman Atzlan, his brother-in-law, he's in a hospital. Chashva young man. I know a friend of mine from BMG, and I asked my friend, like, what does he do all day? The answer was just like, what do you think? He learns. Guy's sick. Guy's withering away. He should have a full shlema b'karev, but such a chizik. Beautiful outside. We have koiches for those that Baruch Hashem have. We're healthy for those who are. We have to realize that it's such an opportunity. We're going to be accountable to use our time properly, correctly. And if we can draw any inspiration and do anything in the schus of a young man who passed away, a young man that's in a hospital, realize that what they were busy with was chayisha, that every reason to give up, to give into the weakness, to give into the pain, to give into the sickness, to say my body is filled with sickness, my body is filled with chemo, with lethal drugs, I can't learn, I can't listen to shir, I can't focus. They have every reason, every excuse in the book. Kavachomer us, when Hashem gives us health, when Hashem gives us koiches, we should use those and should be a schus for them. But just to think that this is it. We always have to be living in a perpetual state of always thinking, pushing ourselves to fulfill the will of the Master. As the pasuk says, the Gemara in Shabbos, Shafilu b'shas misa. This is what these young light. This is what Adirei Torah is all about. Shafilu b'shas misa, their commitment, their love of Torah, yasek b'Torah. They're not doing anything else. They're not sitting and scrolling, listening to silly news, listening to current events. They're sitting and being oisik b'Torah, not eating before they finish their commitments, not being busy with shtustim and dvarim shel mabakach, but being focused on one thing, of being an Adir Torah, of being a lion, of being a real soldier, a real representation of what it means to be a Ben Torah, to choose Chaim over Mavis, to choose Nitzchias over fleeting, transient pleasures. Even as they're sick, even as they're struggling and battling, these are the lives of those who are really committed to Torah. And for us, we have the strength. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the realization, the fortitude to pick and choose as these people are, choosing for Nitzchias, choosing for Olam Haba, and not to be caught in the lure, in the noise and the chaos of what the world has to offer. Of course, a person who is sick, he has to do whatever he can to get better. And he should do whatever he can to sustain himself. And it's a mitzvah to do whatever he can. Kadosh Baruch Hu wants a person, we bring a raya from the Gemara on Shabbos, that a person who is lax in his eating and making sure that he's properly taken care of, that Hashem says, okay, if you're not going to take care of yourself, then I can't take care of you. If you don't care about yourself, then I'm not going to care more. In another vein, the Pasuk in Kehelis tells us there's a time for everything. There's a time when one should fast and afflict himself. Davar B'itay on a Tainus Shavasar. V'chvar his hinur b'sin zechon b'vracha shal im yeh adam zar b'pas shachas. A person should always have a nutritious meal in the morning. V'kama malas amor b'sin zechon b'vracha pas shachas. Ba'ofen shebayom sha'oicha yoicha tekef achfil shachas v'le'avar milita midei b'tzafra. He should eat something good and nourishing in the morning. They should be able to perform at his optimal level throughout the day. Whenever a person has to find a balance, but whenever a person is hungry, he should eat and not deprive himself needlessly where it affects his spiritual pursuits. So it's gashmis for the ruchnis. A person should even eat meat and wine and other things that strengthen the body. Person should do whatever he can, use the gashmis for the ruchnis to fuel him, but with the caveat that one doesn't allow his Yitzhar to lead him on. It can sometimes, right, we have to do what we need, but more than that, then the Yitzhar starts creeping in and saying, oh, have 2 steaks tonight and 2 bottles of wine. We have to do within reason. Hashem knows everything and He knows all the calculations. And this way a person will find solace and peace in his body and soul.